Alright, so hi, to introduce myself, I'm Brian. Um, my background is in research, like studying like scientific research and stuff like that. But anyways, um, so basically poverty is like very detrimental for for people, for like health and like a person's like life satisfaction will be lower, like because of poverty, because like they can't meet their basic necessities, for food, for clothes, for shelter. And even if those are met, and in my mind, like a lot of people are like living in poverty, like um but I would say like people that are living in poverty are more likely to go to prison. They're less likely to get an education. um they're less likely to get their nutritional needs met by like, and the nutritional education that they have probably isn't that good, so they shop, they go to Walmart, and then they buy a bunch of um you know junk because their education you know isn't that good, and so they don't know how to like properly take care of themselves. And even if they do know how to, like I've known how to properly take care of myself, but for me, I can't afford, supplements. I can't afford, you know, like new clothes that would make me feel a lot better. And it's like a cycle of like self-care. It's like where it's like now I have this new shirt, have these new clothes. I can that like projects me to, better take care of myself. Like I bought myself some brand new toothpaste, that I'm gonna use. I bought myself some brand new shoes, that I feel good in. Um, I was able to buy myself a used car, easily because um because I needed it or whatever. It's just like, but if you're poor, it's like you can't even meet those needs, that you yourself have. And so you're just like, you know, you might know that that's part of like the torture of it is that you have these needs. Like I've had dental needs. It's like, how dumb are you, like, to me, like how dumb are you, like you can't even get your teeth fixed, basically. Like, and it's like that's so easy for someone that's like that just has money like laying around, that they can just like they don't have to worry about like getting insurance, getting Medicaid. Like I can't even get Medicaid, but it's like people are just worn out. The people that are in poverty too, they're just worn out. They're tired. Like all the amount of education that exists in the world. Um, with that amount of education, like I was told, or I read one time, that if you yourself are in a good position, you should try to help others get to a higher position yourself, or get to a higher place. So it's like, if I get out of poverty, I'm supposed to help others out of poverty too. Or if I'm or if I'm fully healthy, like if I'm able to get my teeth taken care of, if I'm able to get my eyes checked on a regular basis, if I'm, able to get a brain scan. You know, I've been wanting to get a brain scan. I can't afford it, you know. But supplements is one thing, is like another thing is I want to take care of my health. You know, I can't afford to buy these supplements that I need. It's expensive. Um, I'm living in like what's called like a food desert. So a food desert basically is where you're kind of locked in, where there's a bunch of like gas stations around you. There's like fast food restaurants, and basically, and you're stuck in poverty. You know, so gas is an issue. You know, getting gas going all the way, you know, into town or wherever to get food that you need, or to afford the food itself, you know, because it's more expensive, you know, to just to go grocery shopping than it is to just go to get a quick meal at McDonald's or something like that. Like I know McDonald's is bad for me. Like I have the education portion down, so it's not that reason I can't take care of my health. It's because of like monetary constraints. So it's tormentful. It's tormentful. And you know, if you have money, everything's just so easy. It's so much easier, and um, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. Your whole life changes if you have money, and hopefully, my life can change in the future for the better. If maybe I get your help, um, by liking, by sharing, by subscribing to this kind of content, to this kind of videos, maybe I'll be able to monetize my YouTube channel, and that'll be a source of income. You know, financial literacy also is important as well as you know, health literacy, and as is yeah, you know, like me, I'm starting to get in trouble, you know, in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble, but being poor is also immensely stressful. It takes a lot of your working memory, you know, in your brain. It takes a lot of your working memory. Your frontal lobe activity gets kind of like messed up. You get the amygdala hijack. It's called amygdala hijack, and so it's like stress can just like take over a person and living in poverty. So that just it all just exacerbates, you know, it all just like um, symptoms of each other part, which all just which all just means that this individual, this poor individual, is now like also um, potentially facing like, you know, ostracism or social isolation as well. Um, yeah, like more likely to be incarcerated, more likely to be unhealthy, you know, to have poor mental health, you know, because your mental health is correlated with how well you take care of your body, with how much you're exercising. Like that's another thing too, is like exercise in lower income communities is like can be non-existent simply because people don't have the education that exercise how good exercise is for you. They don't understand the benefits that it has. But also it's like where I live, the walkability is is not that good. And that's really important for how um you know, how you move around throughout your community. Like for example, if you're in a low income community, you could have gang violence around you, you could have drugs around you, and all this stuff is just disadvantageous. And it's like the poverty trap just like keeps people stuck in that, so that becomes their life, you know. Like they have to resort, we should look at it as them having to resort selling drugs instead of Like there's a saying in law that if you willfully commit a crime, that's different than, basically unwilling unwillfully committing a crime. Like we should look at the reasons why people, the intentions behind the crime, and that itself would make a big difference. Is why was this crime committed? Yes, some crimes are so heinous that maybe why someone did it doesn't matter. But for a large majority of things, each situation is different, and each should be that's why the incarceration rate is so high. Is because they're just putting people in prison, basically no good reason. Like, you know, if you're homeless, you get trespassed from properties very easily. And if you're homeless, like you're more likely to do drugs, to drink alcohol, to have addiction. Addiction just one trait that's common among homeless people, the homeless population, is addiction. So they can be addicted to, all these substances. It could be, um, like for pain. People self-medicate. You know what I mean? That's how they get through hard times. And then punishing someone that's in poverty, that's suffering, you know, because of these addictions is just it's barbaric and it's archaic. And that's what I'm saying. Is a lot of this stuff in law, how law deals with things, how it's the law is just archaic and barbaric, and we're putting prisoners in. These prisons can be extremely cruel. Like you have prisoners, that are in what's called the box. If you ever heard of that song, "The Box" by Roddy Rick, a couple years ago. That song basically is about solitary confinement. I mean, but it shows there's no improvement in anyone that goes to solitary confinement. So if you put a person in solitary confinement, I can guarantee you that they're gonna come out worse than they went in. And so this also perpetuates the cycle of like poverty and incarceration, and it's just a cycle, like, you know um so it's just a big societal issue, a big societal problem, but it can be mitigated through how people deal with these, how people respond to these situations, how educated, how merciful maybe they may be. Yes, some should face prosecution, but mercy should also be um, tightly affixed to judgment, because you should look at it as we're all we've all fallen short of being perfect according to any type of law that you may. People that are become lawyers, I'm sure that they've smoked weed while in college. They've been publicly intoxicated. They've had lewd behaviors, etc. So, you know, so it's just it's hypocrisy, and it's really about whether we're destroying life, we're saving life, or we're yeah, if we're destroying or saving life. And so right now, because of my poverty, personally, I'm just pacing my room because I don't have a I don't have a job. I can't get employment. I've been trying to get employment. I've been trying to get employed. I'm very smart. It's not about that, you know, but it's like it's really bad. Also, unemployment is really bad for people's mental and physical health. you can just see a decline in people the longer that they're in unemployment. So unemployment should not be looked at as something that to reject a candidate for long unemployment. Unemployment should be looked at as maybe more of a reason to hire this person so that they don't fail in societally speaking, so they don't utterly fail, so they don't become criminals, because now you got criminals running around stealing. You got people stealing now because they're not making any money. You got, desperation. You have desperation. So why do we want a world full of desperation? Doesn't make any sense. So those are just some thoughts. Thanks. Bye.